Hey everyone, and welcome back to my Rebel channel. I hope you all had an amazing holiday because I know I did. This is a season where it's about family time, presents, great food, making adjustments for the new year by reflecting. And reflectings give us a chance to think deeply about where we were this past year and what we want to see going forward into the new year. And it kind of gave me an idea. I wanted to create an end of the year recap, but I wasn't sure which direction to take it. And after about 10 different throwaways, I finally decided to just go ahead, give you a quick question in my community tab and in some of my recap videos. And I asked what you all would like to see to end the year off right, with someone commenting that they would like to see me review Real Housewives of Atlanta and Married to Medicine. I currently have those season recaps, and actually I'm going to put in my description all the recaps that I have done so far this year, but I said I would still try to find a way to pull that information into my end of the year recap. I thought it would be a great idea to get a little creative and make like a Rebel award where you all could vote on different categories between those 4 franchises and basically give them their props within those categories that they won by me still pulling in a quick little review from their highlights from the current year. And I'll also say if I agree or disagree with the winner or so forth. Who knows, maybe this is something that we can keep going in the coming years or not. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's start with the Reexamine Award. A lot of people, when it comes to sitcoms and movies, we aren't ready to take that adventure on something new. And because of that, a lot of great things go unnoticed until they're like canceled and we finally are watching them like, oh my God, this was so great. Why didn't I watch this before? Or then they're just not given that fair shake in like season 1 and then they're canceled because of expectations, cultural reasons, and just the concept of some of us being stuck in what we know. So I hope this category may shed some light on something you should revisit from this year with a new set of lenses. And based on your votes, it looks like Real Housewives of Atlanta is in the lead with 39%. And I'll be honest, I can see why you guys voted for Atlanta. Based on TV Deets notes, their season premiere is lower compared to their others, missing that 1 million viewer mark, something that was easily achieved during their premiere episode. And I asked and didn't really get a response on why many felt Atlanta didn't get a fair shake. So I did a little research, and some people felt like the show either needed a major cast shakeup, new producers, no more over editing, newer storylines because they felt it was still being recycled, and they just feel like we want something that feels genuine. So here's the thing, I think the cast has great potential. Yes, Marlo may have dropped the ball by that manufactured storyline with Candy, but this was her first season. She's still getting her feet wet. Yes, her storyline with her nephews was very messed up, but her trauma and the things she has gone through has the potential to show us how she's rebuilding and how she's healing from that. We also weren't given that same old thing between Kenya and Portia because Portia chose not to come back, and I think this allowed Kenya to unexpectedly, she basically turned a new leaf and she was not playing the villain. Disagree with the comment saying that Bravo should switch it up like every 3 years when it comes to the cast. You want a cast that has some form of history so that they have a genuine action and reactions. And I also think that some of the best methods to do this is by keeping who you have now, allowing them to be who they are naturally, and then adding the friends of. They'll become more acquainted with the cast, making natural connections so that by the time that they are fully established, you can now remove whoever has been there for far too long, or then switch out the person who isn't meshing well. I also think we have to remove ourselves from that one and done mentality when we dislike somebody. We can't get who somebody really is within one season. So for those who feel like Sonya or Marlo should be recasted based off of their first season, allow them to be who they are. They may surprise us in season 2 the same way that Drew did. Production also did better this season. Majority of the viewers seem to like, per se, Potomac. They love how they're produced. They love the antics, the slideshows, funny commentary, playbacks, and etc. And you guys want to know a little secret that I think a lot of people tend to forget? Atlanta gave us the same exact thing, and they have the same producers. So I don't think production is a fair argument. So here's what I think it really is. Too many people are stuck in that golden era for Atlanta. We will never get an ensemble cast like season 5 and 6. And there is something about that that just can't be duplicated, and that is okay. But we can learn to accept the new era that they are in and not compare them to what they were in the past, because everybody now have different personalities. So if you didn't watch their season, go ahead and see my recap for that. And side note, while I do agree that a lot of people didn't give Atlanta a fair chance, I really thought you were going to say Dubai because a lot of people didn't watch them and this is like their first season. Since we just talked about Atlanta, I want to cover who you all felt had the best storyline this year, and it looks like 42% of you chose Kenya. Kenya held it down this year. Like I stated earlier, she definitely gave us a different side of herself, and I felt like I could really enjoy her, and she had perfect comedic timing.
Slap me drunk. Yes, like this.
Is my wig on straight?
She was quick with the reaction. She seemed very confident in allowing people to do what they do. And whenever they came her way, she devoured.
You hung up the phone on me,
Yes,
right?
we talked about it. And I apologize. And you apologize. What other issue have you had since that?
Well, let me think for a second.
I'll wait.
We got to see some of her time on Dancing with the Stars, Kenya's products now being in other stores, her dynamic with her daughter, which was super cute. Then there's more I can say, honestly, but I feel like the footage does it justice for the sake of time. So I also want to talk about the Run It Up award again, but this time the Dubai edition, and it looks like 54% of you chose Ayan, and I'll give it to her. When it comes to her personality and her having enough confidence that could easily outweigh the rest of the cast, she brought it since episode 1, and she let us all know that she is that girl. From the fashions, funny one-liners, and her confessionals, the length she will go to have her friends back was very commendable. The way she had Caroline Stonsberry jealous of her look at her wedding, and then her storyline, I feel like that really stood out was her discussing her childhood and what she has gone through, and I commend her for that because that took a lot to be open and honest about that. Ayan did not hold back anything really this season, and she just allowed herself to really be who she is unapologetically. And I like that. So like many of you, I am ready to see what is she gonna bring for season 2. When we think of cast trips, we think of drama and sometimes fun events depending on who the cast is, but nevertheless there's gonna be some type of drama, and thanks to popcrust.com, we now know that the trips are budgeted ahead of time and they have to have the details on what they plan to do. The cast trips are supposed to push the women out of their comfort zone, which creates recipes for tension and sometimes disasters. So I wanted to push this theory to the test and see who you all felt had the best cast trips. And with all 4 of the candidates having some form of tension, 3 out of the 4 had some explosive moments, with only 1 of them actually taking it way too far. And based on the votes, Potomac came in with the win. Potomac's trip had many of us side-eyeing people and bringing up different discussions and the way we felt with the lingering things that have been going on for quite some time now. But as much as many people hate it, they continue to pull in the viewers, with episodes 7, 8, and 9, and episode 9 actually being the highest rating for them this season so far because their season is still going on. But we also got to see Candace and Wendy give us their funny clips in the studio. Mia going overboard with thinking she can tell people what they're doing and where they're staying. We got Robin attempting to try to expose Candace. Candace flipping it and letting her know that this is who I was really talking about. Karen going off because of what was revealed per Ashley, and the cast reaction to that. We can't forget the room the bandits were given. The women almost ended the trip off on the right foot until Candace and Robin had to go back and forth, which we would have never seen if it had not been for Ashley because they were done filming at their time. Nothing was missed on this trip. All of that was exposed, no matter what somebody said or tried to deny. And this is something that was missed when it came to Atlanta or Married to Medicine, because we had to wait on Candy or Heavenly's review to basically tell us what was left on that cutting room floor. For the next category, I want to discuss who many of you felt had the best storyline for Married to Medicine, and it was a no-brainer. Toya won with 43%. There are so many allegations towards Toya this year, but she still held it down. This year, we got to see how Toya dealt with the aftermath of the pandemic and finding her purpose and a balance in who she is, something that many of us are trying to do. She also opened up about the state of her marriage, and she didn't sugarcoat how she felt lonely. And with both of those incidents, they were dismissed by a lot of people, including the cast. She also talked about her son and what he went through by being unjustly framed by a friend, and it kind of was like his first taste at seeing how many of us are perceived. And I thought, while this was a great topic to touch on, it was wild how eerily similar her accusation was, but in different contexts. Toya was accused of setting Anila up. Basically, they tried to say she put a hit out on her, And I thought it was crazy how everyone jumped on the bandwagon and was like, she did it, she said it. And I mentioned in my review how I felt she wouldn't be crazy enough to do that and risk her freedom over a disagreement. She also had issues with her and Heavenly, the storylines of people trying to say she was having an affair. And we also found out that this was a scheme that Anila set up to come to us with a BS. And we can't forget her disagreement with Audra. I still stand by Toya being wrong for picking at Audra, but I do stand by Audra being wrong for stepping to her as if she was going to do something. But we're going to leave that there. If you want to know more about that, check my Married to Medicine recap. And there's so much more that can be said, like bringing up Quad's rumors to the forefront. And there's so much more, but I understand why she won this category. I want to stay on a similar topic and discuss Potomac. Candace won this category with 74%. I mentioned in a review that I began to watch Potomac later on down the line by binging it during the pandemic. I learned that many just don't like Candace because she's quick with her responses and they land. I'm not gonna act like she don't be wrong about some stuff though. We have watched multiple people come out with allegations about her husband, and Candace checked every last one of them this year. When on the vacation trip, she literally held it down on her own with the majority of the cast coming against her. We also saw her progress when we're talking about the professions that were revealed on the show. Her music career is doing well. We watched her go from building a career to having a budget and seeing it how it worked within the music videos. Her getting a collab with Trina, her funny confessionals and recollections of past events that I just mentioned that I hopped in on in like the 5th season. But you gotta give it to her when they visited the winery this year. The commentary was a little funny. She also revealed some tea on Ashley when she kind of kept coming at her. And then with Potomac this season, it's still going at the moment, so there is way more to come from her and the cast. Let's switch it up from talking about individual casts to basically talking about a great ensemble and how everybody's roles is just as important to bring balance. And based on your votes, an outstanding cast will go to Potomac. We have Giselle. She's basically known for her beauty. She has the funny commentary from here and there. She is also messy like Ashley, but she gives off this aura that she is running things. She meddles into everybody else's lives without telling us anything real about hers. She can also annoy us with her antics and controversial things that she says, and many people will side with her for the sake of not being on the receiving end of her storylines, but they're always sadly mistaken because even her sidekick Robin isn't safe. She'll throw you under the bus. Robin was originally with the original cast as well, and she was liked in the beginning, but she began to show us who she really is by being under that magnifying glass. She can sometimes seem down to earth and very understanding, but she can also be very hypocritical by many of the things that she says, by calling people aggressive, but she does aggressive things from here and there. Then there's Ashley, who I mentioned not that long ago. Yes, she's messy, but she is also married to someone who is, well, possibly gonna divorce someone who has definitely gotten away with a lot of things because Michael does some crazy stuff and she always sticks beside, you should always stick beside your man. But she literally, we be looking at her like, girl, you are not that delusional. But she can also be the life of the party. But don't get it twisted, she's nobody's friend on the show. She is great for reality TV. Then there's Karen. She is funny and she's more of a reactor versus being like the other 3 OGs. She can also be a little shady when needed. We can't deny that she is someone who may not recognize her full potential. I feel like, come on, you need to wake up a little bit because you're just as essential as Giselle. She can also be seen as someone who never really picks a side, which can be good or bad depending on the circumstances. And then there's Candace. She can push the buttons and do a lot, and her mouth does get her into trouble, but she is very quick with her vocabulary and reads and can easily be misunderstood because she is younger compared to the rest. Wendy came in and fell into the trope of not being a fan favorite, honestly, like many newcomers have in the past, but she began to work her way within the group, and we learned that she is someone just like many of us. She's trying to figure out who she is and what she wants to do because her life has been planned out for her. She is very quick with the responses, which is expected because she does debates for a living, but this can easily rub a lot of people the wrong way because she can come off as a know-it-all. Then there's Mia. She's a free-spirited person that is not afraid to show us the different sides of her and reveal her skeletons, but that's to a certain certain extent because she is definitely known for fabricating a lot of things. She is also not a fan favorite at the moment because of the things she has pulled this season. And while this is definitely terrible for her and the cast because of the things that she has done, we can't deny that as a collective, they basically round the show out and their different personalities are needed. So I can definitely see why they won this category, because we are no longer waiting to see how well the dynamic will mesh well like Atlanta or Dubai. Many shows and different things out there have their dynamic duo. I mean, there's Batman and Robin, Thelma and Louise, Scooby and Shaggy, you know, things that work well together like shake and fries depending on what you prefer with your food combinations. And with your vote, it is very clear that we no longer have a tie. Ayan and Lisa lead with 33%. So what makes them a great duo? It is simply that they don't only have each other's back, they are able to hold each other accountable, and we actually see it on camera. They give us the funny commentary, especially when Ayan tries to express different things but uses the wrong words. And just like us, Lisa is like, she's always looking confused, but she'll correct her in a very cool way without overdoing it. We got to see Ayan support Lisa in her fashion show. They literally hype each other up as they should. At the reunion, they held it down when it was 4 cast members against 2. Some of the other cast members even came off a little jealous of their friendship. We got to see them call out some of the things that Stansberry's husband has done, and they didn't go with the narrative that the rest of the cast were choosing to go with. We can't forget how Ayan gifted Lisa Mrs. Goat when she was visiting her, and it was super funny because if you watch the show, you understand Lisa's culture, you know what they do with goats, but she literally went against the grain of what her culture is known for, and they kept the goat for the boys. Honestly, there's more that can be said about their friendship, but I think they did really good for their first season. And then when we're talking about fashion with this next category, it is more than just labels. It's about how you pull different things together and how you choose to express yourself. So I asked which franchise had the best looks this year, and you all chose Real Housewives of Atlanta. Did do really good. They had some nice looks, and I could go on and on about fashion and etc. for a good minute, but I thought, why not just show you some of their standout looks? This is our final category, so if you have made it this far, I truly appreciate it. Thank you all for hanging in there. But when we're talking about an overall great season, it is literally taking all of the previous categories and wrapping it into one. And it looks like the majority of you felt like Potomac deserved this win, and I'll be honest, I understand why. I don't want to beat a dead horse, so you remembered what I said about the cast members, Candace, the cash trip, and we can easily see why they won those categories and how this can easily blend into this one right here. We can't forget all of the business ventures we got to witness on the show this year. There was also Ashley's possible divorce, which was the driving force in getting some people to tune in. We can't forget the dynamics at the winery. Then there's Giselle and Karen with them both looking at Ashley like, how are you getting a divorce and still buying a house with Michael? Robin bringing Charisse back to get under Karen's skin. We got to see the familiar faces in like episode 1 or 2 when we were talking about Katie. People having new homes. Wendy focusing more on her health and branching into new business ventures. The hilarious confessionals. We can't forget the back and forth on Twitter and Instagram. Then there's Ashley recreating the women confessionals for Halloween. Candace breaking the 4th wall and letting them know you're not going to play with her marriage like I did others. Ashley and Candace becoming friends before everything went haywire. Mia's terrible hosting for the Miami trip. Then us learning about Mia's interactions with her childhood friends and the dynamics within her marriage. The list can go on and on about Potomac, and what's great about them is they are not even into their second half of the season yet, so there is more chaos to follow. Thank you all for tuning into my end of the year review. Let me know what you thought of the vote, my commentary, whether you agreed with the votes or the commentary, who you felt like should have won, and so forth. And I will see you all very soon because Potomac is going to be back for the second half. And we're going into the new year, so it's going to be some more award shows coming up, so I will have more fashion.